So how long you been in business?
About
20,
30 years. Yeah.
How long in this shop?
27 or 28.
That might hurt if it fell on
Yeah,
my head.
that's
27 or 8 in this shop.
Yeah.
So you've turned a lot of bits out of this shop, a lot of spurs. When you think back about over the years, how many bits you've sold, how many spurs you've sold, how many different names come to your mind of guys that probably have the most amount of your bits, you know, like have 8, 10, 12, 15.
Actually, I think Joseph Parsons has about 70. But
Does he really?
Well, he's my neighbor.
He lives down the road a ways.
He lives down the road. But like, there's a guy up in Utah named Ed Bowler.
Yeah.
And that guy's been with me forever. He's almost got one of everything. I think his kids have beat the heck out of him at the high school. I think they might have won. The junior high or something team open last year. But he's got kids and grandkids. Guy up there in Wyoming by the name of Justin Martin. He's a bit selling son of a buck.
Really, I know Justin. I've seen his bits.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's one for his boy right here.
Okay.
Yep, got the brand on it. He'll get a brand on there a lot of times.
Yeah.
That's for his boy Range.
Okay.
And you get a guy like that in the community that is a good hand that people know, like, and respect. They'll actually sell you more bits than actually most guys rodeoing. You know, a lot of guys will sell me bits. A lot of rodeo guys will sell me bits, but most of the time it's a guy that's either kind of like Justin Moss. A lot of bits, sells me a lot of bits, because he's a rodeo hand. Ropes, obviously amazing. Been to the finals, I don't know how many times, but now he's training horses and trading horses, and so Joe Beaver, I can't count the number of bits that guy's bought and sold. You know, if Joe says tell somebody to call, they generally call.
How many bits do you think Justin has, Martin?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's something else right there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. These right here. His brother just died of brain cancer, and they sent his spurs back, Sean Martin. We're going to throw some new rows in them. And then this is a bit for, that's his brand we put on it right there. So that'll go to the Martin crew up there in Wyoming. But, the guys that, and now with this TV deal, people kind of see, I mean, they can spot the bits pretty good. But, Fred Whitfield's sold me a lot of bits.
Really?
A lot of bits. Yeah.
We're gonna sell you a lot right here.
Yeah, well, yeah, but hey, listen, be patient because I am way behind. I'm way behind.
Maybe you don't want this going out.
Well, put it out there, but just be patient. I tell everybody 2 months, and it turns into 6 or 8 or 10 or something. But but if people get in a bind, I try and squeeze them in.
Hey, I got to tell you, a guy made me a pair of spurs. I liked them, so I went and had another pair of spurs made. So I was saying something to Amy one time about them and said that my boys would get them whenever I hung up my spurs, so to speak, and she said well, you got a daughter. So I went back to this guy and I said, I need another pair of spurs. And he said, what are you going to do with 3 spurs? 3 pairs of spurs? And I told him, I said, it's got 2 boys, and my wife reminded me, hey, your daughter would probably like a pair too, even though they're not cowboy people. You know what he told me?
What?
The spur maker. He said, well, you wear all of them the same amount. He says, you use them, try to wear them out. Because he said, if your daughter gets a pair of spurs that were made for you and you've never wore them, he said, they don't mean anything to her.
Exactly. I was telling my wife, it was like during Christmas one time, and I'm just going round the clock. And I said something like, being negative, said something like, something about these stupid bits and spurs. And she said, you're looking at it wrong. I mean, and I think about it. People get pretty excited when they open that, and this stuff's all going to get handed down.
Sure,
it's kind of
exactly. It's a cool deal.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool legacy, really.
Yeah,
because they'll be around long after I'm gone.
You take something like this right here, that's got a little something custom on it. I mean, that's just a piece of leather on this side over here, and anybody can do that.
Yeah.
But when you add this to it, and a guy's got that hanging with a cool bit on it, and a nice pair of reins. Well, and then he quits using it, and his son says, Dad, I want that right there.
Yeah, and if they
or
pull
his daughter.
back, you'll have the buckle forever. They pull back, put that buckle on another headstone. Some of Billy Clapper's buckles are worth just a lot of money. Just a common looking buckle that's just stamped Clapper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a cool deal. It really is. Pretty cool. But I'm trying to think of anybody else who I've. There's just been a lot of people that have really, really helped, through the years, and they kind of take it on.
You don't do a bunch of.
I don't
advertising. No print ads. I
don't advertise at all.
You're not on Facebook. A little bit, maybe.
Every now and then I'll put something on Facebook.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Can't stand Facebook.
No, I can't stand not putting it on.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
No, I can stand Facebook. I don't know how to do any of it. My wife does. Used correctly, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that do all their marketing, I think, on Facebook. But
yeah.
Mine's pretty much at this point, after 30 years, it's word of mouth. But we'll throw something on Facebook, every now and then. It's like if I make something for somebody, I don't even know who some of this stuff's for. So I'll probably end up putting this stuff on Facebook because I can't remember who I made it for.
Do you cut these out here? Somebody else do these for you?
I got a guy that makes them.
Yeah.
Yep. But I'll throw them on Facebook and they'll just sell as is. And then.
Oh, because you don't have a place they're going?
Well, I lost the order or something.
Yeah.
I get a little confused sometimes. But that's a good thing about Facebook is I can stick those 4 buckles on there and they'll just buy them as is. There's somebody out there with BM, HB, and SB, and G, typically. So if you got something you get stuck with, if somebody doesn't pay and I don't want to change out the initials or...
Just throw it out there and
then
this is available.
Usually it's I forgot to... I made one the other day for... Trevor's got ordered a bit.
This is the filing system over here.
This is the
Take
shipping
a look,
department.
Amy. Filing. That's the filing, shipping.
Yeah. That's why some people don't get their stuff.
Had to bring
But my wife does the stamps.com now, so I take everything up to her.
Oh, yeah.
So she keeps me in line. I couldn't do any of this without my wife, I promise.
Well,
yeah.
Don't tell them that most of us are like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Who's holding the camera?
Yeah, who's holding the camera?
Yeah.
So
I've been making a lot of hackamores these days. Calf ropers, I'll put a deal down there for a jerk line.
Hey, so how a horse that works exceptionally well in a bit, and you put a hackamore on him, what's that like? How do they?
They've got their application, I think, and it's just I got a buddy that had a horse really nice broke in a bit, but when his daughter was tying goats, Brian Anderson over here, when he was tying goats and he wanted that horse to just drag it, he'd throw a long shank hackamore on him and he'd just slide. But they've got their application old Butch Stoneman, he had that horse Whit. Whit was going to do whatever Whit wanted to do, pretty much, and that hackamore just kind of helped. But he knew, so they've got their application for sure. And sometimes, you get horses with a bad tongue or just some horses just do not like something in their mouth, and gag bits too. There's some horses out there, I don't think I have a gag right here, but a long shank gag with just a bunch of slide in it. Some horses just don't like curb pressure. Mm-hmm. In other words, when you pull back on the reins, it creates leverage against their bars with the bars of the bit when you got a curb chain, and some horses just do not like that. And you can put a gag bit on them and they'll just stand there flat-footed and go do their deal.
Yeah.
Jared Jaton rode them gag bits for years, and had some really super nice horses. And I don't remember seeing him ride anything but a gag bit. I'm sure he did, but they've got their application. You just kind of got to read the situation, I'm
going to put him on the spot here really quick because every year I get to hear him once a year sing the national anthem. You want to throw a little piece of it out
Well,
there?
we could. I don't know if anybody's ever heard the song Joe B.
There you go.
That went aluminum 2 weeks ago.
It did aluminum.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's kind of long, but we'll give it to you.
Okay. Or you can give us just a piece of it.
Well, the third verse is the only verse that really matters, so you got to have that one in there. Well, I pulled out of the rodeo grounds. I was winning first in both go-rounds. Checked the list and I seen the name Joe B. I'd sure like to win first place, but to lose to him is no disgrace. Guess we'll have to wait and see Joe B. Joe B, Joe B, Joe B, Joe B. Please don't beat me just because you can. Well, Joe was roping in the slack, so I rolled out of the sack to go and watch the man they called Joe B. Well, he roped his calf, he jerked his slack, his horse, he stops, he's getting back. Tied that calf in 7 flat, Joe B. Joe B, Joe B, Joe B, Joe B. Please don't beat me just because you can. Well, the calf kicks up. Joe's out of luck. So he rears back and hollers, shucks. That's when we knew for sure it was Joe B. Except he didn't holler shucks. Now I forgot the rest of the song. Let's see. Joe rears back and hollers shucks. Oh, yeah. No, I can't remember now.
We got the gist of it.
You got the gist.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Still rears back and hollers shucks. That's when you...
It's right there.
Unless you put your kids to bed, you can't repeat. Unless you put your kids to bed, you can't repeat what he just said. Unless you put your kids to bed, Joe B. Anyways, that's the best verse of the whole song, isn't it, Joe? Yeah.
Where'd that song come from?
That's a combination of Dolly Parton, Brian Anderson, and Gordy Alderson.
I got the dolly in there.
Yeah.
I was feeling the dolly.
Yeah. Brian Anderson and I co-wrote that. I sang a verse of it for Joe at the Slack one
Was he
year.
impressed?
He was very impressed, and we'd only
Until
written...
you got to the last...
No, he loved that too. And he actually inserted the word that wasn't shucks. He was so impressed, he called me later and he's like, hey, I got to have that song on. He did a video, I think it's called Life of a Champion. It's a great video.
Right.
Yeah. So they put that on the back end, but they cut the good verse out.
Oh.
So, and I just screwed it up. But anyways, yeah, we wrote that like Heartbreak Hotel was written in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
we
did
finished
that.
those last two. We finished those last two verses right in the studio, like all the great songs.
Yeah.
I sent a copy of that to George Strait. I says, "What'd you think, George?"
What'd he say?
He said, "I said you like Joe B." He says, "Not really." At least he's honest.
We were at a George Strait concert a couple weeks ago. We didn't hear him sing it, so.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dolly Parton might come with the legal team after him. She probably won't bother us.
Okay, so you've had some steel in the fire there.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
We're bending up some spur bands. I got a die over here that notches them. And so I use the steel called 4130. I use 1/8 inch steel where it's lighter because a lot of rodeo guys like a lighter spur. A lot of cowboys like a heavier spur, but I make mine out of 4130. And I just take that, quencher in there, grab it there. I harden those in so they won't bend, and then wrap it right around there, and then
That's it, right there.
yeah, right after it's bent, then I quench it. So that's quenched. And then I'll take that spur shank right there, and I'll throw it in my tumbler and soften it all up. And you can grind them nice and soft, but that tumbler's working while I'm sleeping.
How long do you tumble them?
Well, the tumbler I got's kind of old school, and I just dig the sand out of the wash and the rocks out of the driveway. So I tumble stuff for a couple days, but if I got a good tumbler, I can tumble it in a couple hours. But I got two of them, so when they wear out, maybe I'll get a good one. When you use really good steel, you can use a lighter weight steel because it's good quality steel, they won't bend. But if I were to make that out of mild steel with that thin a shank, you couldn't get them hard enough. They'd bend when you kissed your horse. But the only thing you can't do with these is drive over them with a pickup. They will bend if you do that. And then while they're still hot, I'll quench them. And then as soon as I weld that shank on, as soon as I weld the spur shank on, I'll quench them. I'll quench them right there where I welded it on. And when you get that hot weld on that and you quench it, it makes them hard.
Huh.
So they're light and hard and last a long, long time.
There you go.
Here's some
now,
bits.
what's all this stuff?
Well, this is some bits. Joe Beaver sent me some bits back. He just about worn them out. And I started making my corrections a different way. So he wanted me to fix them. Instead of fixing them, I just kept them and replaced them. Because I think they're probably going to be worth something someday. And that's actually a mismatched pair of spurs. I'd actually replaced one with the other but didn't have one. But that's what he was riding. But they're basically the same. They just look a little different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made those for Joe. This is a real good bit right here. I make a lot of these. I call it a primetime bit because J.D. Tadlock was riding on that really good calf horse back in the day. I saw J.D. Tadlock and Clay O'Brien Cooper, and they were both riding a bit. It had a hole drilled through the shank, through the bars of the bit, I mean, and then and a staple. Well, the staple had worn out, and the hole had wallered out, so the mouthpiece floated in there like that. So I just started making them like that, but I put tubing on the side so they won't pinch. And that is a great bit. It's real slow. This will never hit the roof of their mouth. And back to that nod and pull deal, it's a pretty forgiving bit.
Hey, so when you go to an event like you were at the Survey yesterday, are you looking at bits all the time as you're walking around? I mean, like
I do kind of look at them, but I'm usually visiting with somebody.
Yeah, he does visit a lot.
Yeah, I visit a lot, and then I'm trying to watch the roping, trying to get stuff delivered, get paid.
But I mean, you're not like looking.
Well,
I mean, you know what you're going to build, and so you're not like.
Oh
hey,
no. If I typically wouldn't see something at a roping and think I want to build that, I'll get some ideas from guys like I came up with a lot of this stuff, but obviously I didn't invent the Calvary shank. And I think either Billy Clapper's been copying me or I've been copying him, but I think it actually goes back to Byers bits. That shank shape has been around forever. Nobody patents any of that stuff. Port mouthpiece been around. I've come up with some different mouthpieces that have been real effective, but where I might come up with something new is there might be some old hillbilly back in Arkansas that made something for somebody, and he's a good hand. He's like, man, this rides great on everything. Send me a picture of it and we'll see. And it's usually something I've already made, but every now and then you can kind of come up with, and then I'll come up with something. I'll think, man, what if, like the flat barred hinge port, it lays, when it rolls up on that edge, it's like rolling up on it. You know, it goes from less to more, and it has a tendency to really get horses just really dragging their ass. So come up with stuff, I'll see stuff, but typically it's just been a combination of seeing stuff and figuring out what works for 30 years.
Hey, let me ask you this: is there any one bit that you sell the most of? Like a guy calls, he says, "Man, I really don't. I don't know what I want. You just tell me what's your best seller."
I'll show you a good best seller. Right here, hinge port.
Okay.
Hard to beat because you got a solid mouthpiece. When you're on both reins, you got a lot of lateral. A lot of headers like that bit.
Do you, what's in there? Do you make this?
Show you.
Do you make that?
Mm-hmm. I'll show you. I get these are rivets, and we turn them down, and then I get these parts machined right here. The little barrel, you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I order these stainless steel rivets, turn the tops down so they fit, and they slide right in there. And then that one doesn't fit. We got to grind it down some more. And then take one of these mouthpieces. It's already been ground off, made, tumbled. Put the mullen in it, drill a hole through it, over at the drill press, and then tumble it, and then I'll weld this in there, where that's all hidden and smooth when you're done. Weld this one in this side. And then you put them together, and then you got that bit right there.
So what holds this together?
Welded.
There? That's welded.
Yeah, weld that.
Okay.
Weld that. That's the last thing I'll do is weld that, and then just go to the grinder and clean it off.
But that's your best. Let's see that bit.
That's
again.
a real popular bit. I bet I got one over here too. Here's one. Well, I'll show you how popular they are. There's one over there. There's two here.
Do that.
And then
do you change the? You can change the different length of the shank.
Yeah, absolutely. And then this one here, I've only made one or two of these, but I put that on a gag. To where?
Okay, explain the gag.
Okay, so here's
explain
the
gag
deal.
to everybody.
Here's this.
Amy, wait. Amy, do you know what a gag is? A gag type bit or a gag snaffle?
No. I'm gonna learn.
So like this bit right down here, when it's in their mouth, up against in their mouth, it's going to be here. So you've got a ratio, back to that ratio deal. You've got a ratio of about, if we go here, we're like, okay, so 1, 2, and then we come here. So you got a ratio of about 2 to 2.5. Well, as you're out in the field, say it's on your head horse, and you lift Now this ratio goes from here. It almost goes from not 1 to 1, but it almost goes to a 3 to 1. So now when this shortens up, you've got a lot more leverage right here.
As this comes up
As this
here,
comes
because
up.
your leverage is down here.
Yep. And then this, you got a curb chain here, so it creates more leverage. So say you're in the corner and you got a nod and pull and you're down here, we all nod and pull. We don't want to, but everybody does. So this is going to give you that forgiveness. But say this is on a calf horse and you're out in the field and you want to really come back and stop him, it's going to slide up to there and it's going to create pole pressure, it's going to create curb pressure, it's going to create pressure in their bars, and it's going to shorten that ratio up so you've got more stop out in the field. So everybody wants a bit that's not too much in the corner and it is enough in the field, and as a rule, a gag will kind of help you with some of that stuff.
How important is a tie down to making all of this stuff work? Will these work the same without a tie down?
That's
or is
a
a tie
really
down?
good question. What I tell people to do is...
How about that? I asked a good question.
Yeah, he did. But if you can't ride your horse around with your tie down step to your breast collar, say you snap your tie down up to your breast collar and you're riding around or loping and you ask your horse to stop and he comes here, well, he's not going to be able to do that in the field. But if he's in the tie down and his shoulders flatten out and he hollows out and he's pissed off, how good is he going to function? So you want him, whenever I warm my horse up, I typically try and do it a lot of times, not every time, but without a tie down. Because if you can't stop one without a tie down, they'll stop with a tie down, but is it going to be a good soft stop to where if it's a calf horse he can back up, or a head horse? We've all seen the pictures of the head horse when the guy's setting his steer and that son of a buck's up here and his mouth's wide open. Or you'll see one where you got some guy rolls in there and he's got his hands crossed and he's broke at the pole and his tie down might not even be tight and he's on his left hind leg and steps across. So yeah, I mean, if they're in the tie down, of course they need a tie down. Almost everybody rides a tie down. I don't think Joseph Harrison rides a tie down on that mare, but I might be wrong. But he's an exceptional lad.
Yeah.
But like calf horse, they need that tie down to brace. Almost all of them. And same thing with a head horse. It's nice to have that for that brace. But if you're counting on it for everything,
how about okay, the Cavison?
Yeah. I ride one of them a lot.
You ride one a lot?
I do.
Tell us what that does.
Well, it keeps their mouth closed. And no offense.
If they're open in their mouth, what's the problem?
It's probably a couple problems. One is you got the wrong bit on them. 2 is they need their teeth floated. And 3 is they're not broke.
Not by your bit either. Floated by a guy that floats.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've all said, oh yeah, he's floating that horse's teeth.
The equine dentist.
The equine dentist.
Yeah. And so, but in the same breath, there's been a lot of gold buckles won with horses that gap their mouth. And sometimes, if they gap their mouth a little bit and it's a bit of an escape for them and they ain't miserable and things are going, because if you
and they're still working,
you're still winning.
If they're gapping their mouth to get away from it, then maybe you got.
And even if they're gapping their mouth a little bit to get away from it, because here's the thing: if you're kind of heavy-handed, or you might have the wrong bit on one, or his teeth aren't real good, and you put a Cavison on one, you might get a bloody nose when them gates bang, because they're used to being able to open their mouth. They'll feel trapped, come up. I mean, it can be a train wreck.
Yeah.
So if you do go stick a Cavison on, because once you keep their mouth shut, if their teeth aren't good, that jaw can't rotate, and it'll mess things up. And they'll get stuck between a rock and a hard place. Don't like it. But I like to ride a Cavison quite a bit. I just, to where they just can't open their mouth, and then get their teeth good and keep them broke.
So I think the only thing left to do is Amy.
Yeah.
Come here. You got to be in here because, you're the best looking thing in this shop.
Oh, yeah.
So the only thing left to do is order a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will get your credit card number.
Okay.
You can write me a check.
Yeah.
And I'll put you on the list.
How about cash? Does that work?
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, I take cash. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I think I want to do the hinge port bit.
All right. We'll get you down. We'll get you one made.
Okay.
And Reed won't have to wait too long because he's a big deal.
Yeah, right.
Careful, his hat's not gonna fit.
Well, I don't want bad publicity. But hey, I don't want to make it too quick because he'll tell everybody he got it real fast, and then that's what they
Then everybody will expect
that
it.
ain't happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.